you know,
Mm.
you have to do for you, but not so selfishly that it affects other people negatively.
Mm.
Like you can go out and do for yourself while also being kind to others and loving others
But
unconditionally.
it is still
But
a learned, I mean, this is the thing, is we forget it is a learned skill.
yes.
Um, and if you've never had any, this is why mentoring like your own is so important, because if you've never had anybody in your life teach you how to do it, where are you going to learn it from? And I mean, this is why mentoring and things is such a valuable resource, is because it allows us to build those skills that we haven't had the opportunity to access before.
Hmm.
So
It gives
yeah, I'm
people
getting mad
hope.
at my
It
parents,
lets
but
people.
they didn't learn the skills. They didn't know to learn the skills. If they'd had mentoring in those days, maybe we'd have
Mhm.
had a different outcome. I don't know.
It lets people know that they're not alone
Mm.
in whatever they're dealing with. That's the other reason why people stop talking to one another because now we have people. Now, when I tell someone something bad that's going on in my life, they have to one up me. Like, no. Or they have to take they have to take the tension away from themselves or from me and put it on themselves because talking about me and my issues and what I'm going through is gonna make them uncomfortable or they just don't want to hear it because they're tired or they're whatever the case is. It's like okay, so tell me you don't want to sit here and be an ear for me so that I can go about my day and maybe find someone who can help me. Don't sit there and be fake.
Mm. And it's so
Like
hard when
it's
you're autistic because our way of connection, if you tell me a bad story about yourself and I have something that I can tell
no,
you
I
that
know about
connects,
that. I know about that.
but
There is
that's not the
there's
same thing.
different.
It's not the same thing
There's
as
a
taking
difference.
attention.
Yes. I'm very familiar with that, and I know that we do that. But I was talking specifically about those people
Mm.
that don't do that. I'm talking specifically about the people who don't use personal experiences to relate. They use personal experiences to validate. I don't like that. I
Yeah, and I mean,
despise that.
you know,
I like why is it your turmoil, your travesties, your hardships has to be the only thing that gets you love, likeness, affection, affinity, whatever, well, whatever word you want to use. Like why is it going through something bad is the only way to get attention?
because it's like Munchausen's, that those the only time that they were sick was the only time that their family or anybody noticed they existed. That while they were being cared for, people paid attention. As soon as you were well again,
Hmm.
everyone got on, moved on in their little bubble and moved away, and you became invisible again. And I think that's it's a real indictment of society that this is it. Is I mean, as autistics, we complain about the fact that we feel invisible all the time and we're marginalized and we're shoved to the side. But it's not just a ND thing. It's not just even a marginalized thing. I think people who are in the majority, people who are at the most privileged level of class are still struggling with this invisibility.
That's another thing I try to teach, confidence. So when you have confidence in self, you now have confidence to talk. You have now you now have confidence to say what's on your mind. If you have confidence in what's on your mind, you have now the confidence to speak what's on your mind. And but that's also another skill, being articulate enough to say what's on your mind and to express your feelings without getting caught up in your feelings, because you can allow that emotion to control you, and now you're saying things that you don't mean. Like I always, so if you learn self, you learn control and domain over all of you.
Mm,
And it's so interesting, like I swear I was cutting up something and I think I ended up slicing the tendon in my pinky, because for the first few days I couldn't bend my pinky at all, but now I can bend it.
mm,
And that was a couple months ago. And so it's interesting how like I had no surgery, I had no antiseptics. Like it's still a
mm,
little swollen, and I can't bend it fully yet. But like, I don't know. Like, I always say mind over matter, and people always laugh at me. But okay, you can laugh at me, or you can try to understand why I'm saying it in the first place. Like, what have I gone through for me to say that so fervently and
mm,
so arduously throughout the day?
mm.
You know,
And
like I
it's so interconnected anyway. I mean, mind and body is one thing. People forget and they go, oh,
no, mind and body are two things. Like when you're so we have a brain, we have a consciousness that is inside of physical form, but we are also observing the consciousness.
yeah,
We are seeing, we are creating those thoughts. We are seeing those thoughts. We are catching the stuff coming out of the basement of our subconscious. We are, so there's, that's uh,
so when
like
our
self.
nervous system,
I always say self is three layers. I always say self is three layers.
yeah,
You have the first layer, the physical world. You have your second layer, which is the, the metaphysical. That's the layer right below, where you have your feelings behind the thoughts, you have the reasons behind the actions, and then you have the third layer. I don't know what to title that as yet, but that's you. That
mm,
is you looking at the color green and saying that is green, and that is vibrant, and that makes me feel nice and comforted because I love how green leaves look. Like,
mm,
there's always three layers to you.
yeah,
So if when when you're presented with an issue or an argument or any sort of contention in your life, and if you can sit there with yourself and say, okay, I'm here, I'm feeling this, and here are the reasons why I'm feeling this. You have solved about 80% of the issue already. By just simply acknowledging those three things, you have regained control over the situation for yourself. Because that's another thing I also try to teach people, that other people are beyond our control. You, however, can control you.
mhm,
You can control how the front door interacts with you. You either close it or open it or crack it open. You either run into it or you avoid it. You can do that with other people, because you can't control other people. I mean, you can control the door, obviously, but with other people, you can also, especially, choose to ignore them.
mhm,
And honestly, it's a lot more simpler to ignore people, because at least people can move. The door's stuck to the house. You have to relocate. With people who are always moving, always going, you just simply ignore them and you worry about you,
mm,
but not in a selfish, negative way, to now you're being disrespectful to everyone and not being mindful of the fact that they are also people living their own lives.
yeah.
That is so,
Yeah, it's having that. It's keeping those boundaries and protecting those boundaries so that
yes,
you have the capacity to give to others.
yes,
Because if you don't keep those boundaries and you let the vampire suckers in who drain you, you don't have anything left. You don't have capacity then to help others. You don't have
no,
capacity even for yourself, let alone other people. So by protecting yourself from the vampire suckers, you have that space to be there for the people who need it, and who aren't going to, well, technically steal your soul as payment. I know that's an overdramatic way of explaining it, but sometimes there is people you're around that feels like that. They steal the very core of who you are because they want you to be. They want you to recreate yourself to be something for them that's their image, not you.
No, it's not their image. They don't really even have an image for themselves, so they cannot create an image in other people, for other people, by other people. How I don't know how he want
But
to
they
put
tell
that,
you, you know, they
but
want you to behave away, they want you to think
yes,
away, they
because
want you to act
it
away.
feeds them. They don't have an image. They don't have anything constructed of themselves. They just need life. And so what how in however form it comes, whether that's negative fat validation, they go through something traumatic, or it's positive validation. They have someone constantly love bombing them. And
Mm.
so those types of individuals I most definitely stay away from, because if I don't know, if you need attention like that 24/7 simply because I don't know, you're alone, or because you don't want to deal with your own issues, or because you don't know how to talk to yourself about your
There'd
own
be
issues.
somebody who'd need you as a mentor.
No, but like, okay, so I have mentored quite a few people who started and ended just as fast. Because as soon as I started talking about the truth, what do they do? Start making excuses. And when I start making those excuses, they start growing quieter and quieter and quieter until, oh, well, I have to go. Or, oh, I'll let you know if I want another session. Okay. I hope that you avoiding these issues as you're avoiding these sessions is bringing you as many benefits as it would bring you to address the issues. Because I give up.
Mm.
That's when I give up. If they are showing no effort or showing quite the opposite, they're showing blunt and just, I don't know what word, abhorrent opposition to me and the kindness I'm trying to give to them in the form of advice, like, I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
And I
I'm
mean,
not I'm not doing that. Like, no,
yeah,
no, absolutely not. I have not wasted. I've damn near killed myself numerous times, giving my heart and soul to people that in hindsight never even deserved a hello.
they
Like,
weren't. Yeah, they weren't ready.
because they can't, they're not even ready. They won't ever be ready because they can't even show up for themselves.
Mm.
How am I gonna expect these people to show me respect when they can't even show themselves respect?
Mhm.
They can't even show themselves enough respect to be honest about how they're being mistreated by people in their life, how they're not being allowed the space to talk about their feelings and about their thoughts, how they're like,
Mm.
if it's all a cycle, because
Mm.
guess who did that to them? Their parents and their family and their messed up past relationships. And
Yeah.
so you start going down that thought process, and then you get sad, and then you start crying. I'm always crying now because like you start thinking about all these things, and you want to get frustrated and angry and so upset, and you want to get motivated to do something, but then you start really thinking about it, and it's like, damn, I can't do shit.
No, you can give
like
information,
like
you can
other
mentor, you
like
can guide. If they
That's
don't
all I
want to
can
follow
do.
that path,
Because I like I just said, I can't control anybody else.
mm,
I like either people want the help or they don't want the help. Either
Yeah,
people want to accept the truth or they don't want to accept the truth.
I
Because
agree.
like you said, it's like you have to stay away from the vampire suckers. You absolutely have to put up those guards. You have to absolutely have to make sure that the space within yourself is safe enough for you to have that inner monologue and self-talk so that when these vampire suckers do come along, you're confident enough in yourself to speak your mind and say, stay away from me. You're a bad person. Because I've done that, or not, or maybe directly and indirectly. Not recently. I haven't done that recently, but at the prison and jail, most definitely. I told people to stay away from me.
Mm,
I either with my face, my body language, or with words. Like, because I'm not hiding. I'm not hiding the truth. I'm not hiding behind anything.
mm.
Like nor am I scared of anything or anyone. Like I'm scared of God. I'm scared of the universe. Like, because I know at any moment in time a black hole could come whipping through here, and now we're all dead. Now we're all we're literally being disassimilated, disassembled, deconstructed, assimilated, ameliorated. There are so many words for for the extirpation of us at any given moment. We could
Mhm.
die right now and we wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
But you think I'm gonna sit here and be concerned about a person who doesn't want to accept the truth and who wants to act like a child? Bye.
I was just
I mean,
remembering my own young person that they were very, my job as a parent was a mentor. I'm a guide. I give information.
you can only help people who want to help
And
themselves.
when you
Like,
see them, we go on a walk and I say, look, don't go that way because there's thorns and there's brambles and you're going to get stuck.
mhm.
And they go, no, 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 it looks more interesting. Now, I had two choices as a
Like,
parent. I could
you
I could
have to
either
go let
grab
them make that
them and
mistake.
go, no, 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 or go, fine, find out for yourself. I've given you the information.
Mhm.
Um, and if you get stuck, yell and I'll come and dig you out.
Like you can either approach it very maturely and say, okay, I'm going to get hurt or I'm not going to get hurt. My mother is telling me not to do this, so there has to be a reason. Let me sit here and figure it out. Or you can stay in that immature mindset of, oh, nothing can happen to me. I'm on top of the world. I know everything. I don't need to take anything from anyone.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so, I let them learn. I let them head into the bush and just got ready to get them
No,
free.
I let them
As
head into the bush and I hope that they come back
but
and
yeah, but
say, I'm sorry I didn't listen
yeah,
to you.
but my young person, they only needed to, you know, once that they'd headed into the bush and got stuck, they'd never head into that bush again. So,
Right.
sometimes that's their learning process, but that's
Mm.
you know that's somebody who was 6 years of age. Um, Now we have adult conversations when they're planning to do things, and they say, "Okay, can we talk about the risk factors? Can we talk about the pros and the cons, and can we weigh it out?" Um, and the decision is always theirs. But if I have information that they didn't have, they don't go, "Well, I know better anymore." They go, "Okay, I didn't know that information. Thank you. I'll
It's always good to
I'll
have
alter
people
I'll
like
alter my
that.
course."
Hmm.
Sometimes I'm the person who didn't have the information. You know, when we're talking it out and I give some advice and
Hmm.
they go, "Yeah, but there's this factor." And I go, "Oh, okay. If it's that factor, that changes everything. Yeah, you were absolutely right on your course because of that factor that I didn't know." Everybody learns. Everybody learns all the time. And that's learning how to learn is the big skill that school doesn't teach us.
Yes. That I'm so grateful for my grandmother. For you know, I can say that my parents raised that I had a lot of bad that I had a bad childhood. I was gonna use a whole bunch of other words. I can sit here and say that I had a bad childhood, that my parents raised me kind of okay. No, but I mean, I can I I learned wood cutting in about 30 minutes because I needed to build something out of all the wood I found for the cats because it's going to be raining and it's going to be hot. I needed to figure out, like, I don't know. But I had my parents and grandparents and people in my family not gave me books, pushed me to read, pushed me to go out and play and build things, and like, you know, I wouldn't I wouldn't know and see the things I do. But like, it wasn't them teaching me intelligence, it was them teaching me true intelligence, actually. Oh, I was about to say something else. No, true intelligence is the capacity to gather information and how to do so. If
Mm.
you can sit there and figure out 20 different ways to reach the same conclusion, you can consider yourself an intellectual. Because someone who isn't smart is someone with very linear, closed-minded thinking, someone who can't think of 20 different ways to get to the same conclusion. Not necessarily fast, but can this person sit down and think about every step, every detail, every can not every, but can they think for themselves
Again, I think, and
rationally? Can
again,
they
it's a
analyze?
learned,
Can they deduce?
yeah, and it's a learned skill. So many people
Yes.
are trained. They come in at kindergarten with the skill, or with the developing skill, and they're curious, and they see, can I stick pasta on the ceiling, um, and very very quickly they're all taught to sit crisscross applesauce, all sit in a row, all pay attention to the same story, all listen to what the teacher's interpretation of the story is, and then
Mhm.
take that interpretation and have to adopt it as their own, whether it was their interpretation or not. They learn how to do maths a certain way, they learn how to write a certain way. When they all write their sentences, how was my holiday, their essay, how was my holiday, they can't just go freelance. There is very strict rules of how they're able to express how their holiday was.
Mhm.
um and school steals that growing skill. It deletes it, it knocks it out. And so you get cases where a friend of mine was suspended from school for
Reading
a week,
is also
um,
really bad.
for doing an Easter bunny card. And as a commentary on the commercialism of Easter, they did a crucified Easter bunny.
No.
The school did not take it as a piece of commentary art, and called it subversive and suspended him for a week.
A crucified Easter bunny is definitely pushing it a little far.
It's pushing it, but it's, as he said, it's opposed to, we say Easter's a religious festival, and what do we see everywhere instead? We see Easter bunnies, Easter eggs, all of this commercial stuff. We don't actually spend time thinking, if we're going to celebrate Easter, we should be celebrating that festival and considering what it means. And either you're
Well, I
celebrating the
guess
Christian one, or you're celebrating Yostra. Um,
I guess he could have did something with just the Easter bunny itself and not include the cross.
Well, the point was that
Maybe
it was
that would have
the
been better.
yeah, but I mean, he was making the point that it was that we have mixed the two together, and that you know Jesus is just a sort of a side isn't is considered a mythical sideline entertainment rather than a genuine spiritual leader by a vast number of supposed Christians. Not every Christian, not every Christian by a long way, but by quite a but there is quite a large number of people who uh, don't.
There there's a lot of people
We're
who
getting off
don't who
track,
have
but
not no. There's quite a few people who haven't read the Bible who try to say they know who Jesus is. And it's like, okay,
uh,
you haven't read Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. I went to Sunday school. I grew up in Sunday school. I mean, I still read the Bible. I still like I talk to God and Jesus, but it's so much more than what Christians call it now. I like they're like I don't know. It's like people, okay, firstly, people want to argue that Jesus was the son of God. No, Jesus was man. He was born from Mary and Joseph. However, Jesus was trying to tell everybody that if you loved unconditionally and spoke to this inner voice you have within yourself, you are capable of doing anything because it
yeah.
is mind over matter. Like it's and so if you make those connections, you remove the church. You remove
I mean,
um I
that
mean you remove honestly every aspect of Christianity, of modern
yeah. I
Christianity.
mean,
Right.
you see that thing of people go, oh no, homosexuality and trans and stuff is against what Jesus would have had them in the inner circle. I'm sorry,
Hold-
if you read the Bible, he'd have had them in the inner circle.
There's okay. The word homosexual never appeared in any translation of the Bible until 1946.
No, I mean, but he accepted everybody. He made a point of finding the people that society said wasn't okay and
Mhm.
pulling them in. Mary Magdalene, and he he made a very strong point that you cannot judge others. You can, he who cast the first stone. He, you can't. It is not up to man to decide who gets into heaven or not. None of us
Mhm.
have that right.
We sit here and judge other people when we are so imperfect ourselves, when we have done horrible things or so, maybe not horrible things, but like why not instead try to understand each other and
Mm,
help one another? Like animals in the animal kingdom, like I don't know, like they have their rivalries, but it's kind of like a respect thing.
mm.
Like like you see more respect and unconditional love amongst animals without the higher level thinking that we have.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
and
we
then
don't know. We
and then
don't know. They don't have
you
high
laugh
level
even
thinking.
more because these same people try to argue that we aren't animals. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why do you think how do you think psychology started? Like, I'm not saying all of their information was correct, but geez, man, to say that there's like somatic ways to work through our trauma and our interpersonal issues. How do you think they heal gorillas and rhinos and other animals from getting shot at and trapped and uh you know tracked or whatever the case is in these jungles and plains and everywhere else? They put these animals through therapy essentially. They put them in water, they put them in rooms, they surround them with like it's just they have them move, they have them exercise, like it's just like but no, we're not animals, we're humans, we're evolved, we're So at that point, we might as well be aliens living on this earth, and all these animals and gorillas and the things in the ocean need to just riot together and kill all of us. Because honestly, I'm just saying, if every single animal that was existing in and below the earth decided to rise together, I mean, we'd have to nuke ourselves
Mm.
to end the war. I think about that a lot. I don't know why, but it's just a random thought
But
of just like
I
all
mean,
the animals
and it's,
uprising.
and the higher consciousness thing, I always think, because, when you know about elephants and the fact that when they try, they do a circuit over the year to keep with where the food is.
Yes,
When they come back, they always go back to the bones of those they've lost to say
because
hello
they.
again.
Hmm.
So
I swear,
we
my
as
cat.
humans, yeah, we as humans have decided that animals don't have a culture and a higher intelligence because they don't share our spoken language, which is so wrong. I mean, we do it to human beings too. We do it to the non-speaking community where they say, "Oh, they haven't got the intelligence to do X, Y, Z." No, no, they don't communicate your way, and you are mad that your lack of understanding is, and it's your lack of understanding that's the problem. You're blaming it on their difference in communication, and that's,
Hmm.
you're looking for Franklin.
No,